Hey Fashionpreneurs, my name is Jess and welcome to the Fashionpreneur Diaries. Hey Fashionpreneurs, welcome back for entry 18 of the Fashionpreneur Diaries. Today we have a special entry and I am so excited because it's gonna be a little different. Today's entry is called Don't Call Me, I'm Off. And I was just having a conversation with my great homies in the room. Will Casanova DC Verified Check, amazing singer, songwriter, and he's handling audio for us here at the Fashionpreneur Diaries. And then we have the amazing Ken for the Win, my brother, who's basically my therapist and keeps me together out here in these streets, okay? And earlier today, I was telling Ken that I have to go back home to Baltimore for a few weeks, and a lot of us that live here in LA are not from home, and it's so funny. Are not from the city of LA. And a lot of us are from the East Coast. And I talked to so many people, and, I've been asking them, like, how long are you going home for the holidays, and, what's your plan? And everybody's like, yeah, I can only last at home probably about 4 or 5 days. I got to get out of there. So it's this mindset within the community here in LA, all the East Coasters that live here. It's so funny. We're all like, yeah, it's like a 5-day period at home. And after that, it's time to head out. So I was telling Ken, I'm going to have to go home. And I was like, is it crazy that I'm going to go home for if I go home for a week and then come back to LA and then go back home for another week to finish up some stuff? And he was like, nah, I was like, I have no responsibility here in LA. I can stay for 3 weeks. My team has, and my staff is amazing. They're A1. And I was like, do I have to come back? And Ken was like, yeah, for your peace. That's your reason. And I was like, you're so right. And I had to account for that. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that I had written out actually before we had this conversation. And it's called Don't Call Me, I'm Off. And I want to talk about self-care time, your responsibility to be selfish within your time, and what that looks like from a personal perspective. And I think as fashionpreneurs and business owners, we don't talk enough about our personal stability. I know that you guys hear me talk about my faith a lot. I know you guys hear me talk about my story. My clients talk about their stories. Our guests talk about their stories and the strides that they've had to take to get to where they are. But I want to tell you guys some of the strides that I had to take within personal development to get here. And I want you to understand that it's okay to reclaim your time without being mean or without, having this conception where the world is just against you. That perception is completely false. And I want to kind of change that narrative and focus on taking care of yourself. All right. And you have the right to conceive any idea, but it's up to you to manage it and delegate it and to operate within that and cover yourself and reclaim your time. So don't call me, I'm off, okay? So one thing that I started doing a few months ago is I began to pray over my time management. When I first became an entrepreneur, I was working 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. And I wasn't just working long days, I was working insanely long days, excruciating long days. I'm talking 16 hours, 17 hours, 6 days a week. I remember missing my nephew's birthday party because I had a photo shoot on a Saturday. I knew I shouldn't have went down to my store one day when I had a store in Baltimore, and I went anyway and I dropped off clothes and I was like, oh, well, I'll just shoot real quick. And it ended up taking up the entire day. When I got to my nephew's party, everybody was packing up and cleaning up. That was the moment that I realized I can't operate like this. This is not the way that God wanted me to operate within my gift. And I remember missing so many things, like my nephew's basketball game. I remember I couldn't make it to one of his games before I moved to LA, and I was like, yeah, this has to shift. So when pretty much my nephew's life shifted, my entire operation. It just changed my entire mindset. It changed how I moved and how I delegated my time and how I respected my time. And it also forced me to look at myself and say, self, is this how you want to operate? Is this what you foresee? And I realized that God would not play me out like that, as we all know from our previous entry. And I had to think what I could do differently. So earlier this year, I began to pray, like I said, over my time management, and God literally directed me to start working 4-day work weeks. And I used to have this problem when I was working 7 days a week and 6 days a week. I had staff, and I did not know how to delegate effectively. Years ago, I was just a micromanager. I was very controlling within the day-to-day work. And also, I was not necessarily a leader, but a boss. Like, hey, I need this done by 4, it's mandatory. I wasn't looking at the entire operation and saying, what can we all do to disperse this and make sure that we achieve more throughout the day? And what can we do to value each other's time? And I told you guys this story before. I had an amazing team member that gave 2 weeks notice before I moved to LA. She ended up moving to Wisconsin with her fiance, who was I think he was in the military. And I did an exit interview with her because she was an awesome employee. I was sad to lose her. And I remember she said to me, Jess, the only piece of advice I could give you is don't fear hiring more people like me. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, you put too much on me. I was doing everything. So once upon a time, I had one employee helping me operate 3 different businesses at once. Worst. The worst. And now, by the grace of God, I'm in a place where I have one team member delegated to each operation within all my businesses. So I have one team member that fully devotes her time to doing follow-ups and sales for the Fashionpreneur Academy, assisting the clients. I'm fully responsible and devoted to my clients. That's my position. I am an employee of the Fashionpreneur Academy. That is where I work, okay? Irregular exposure, I'm not an employee of Irregular Exposure. I receive a commission, but I am not an employee. I have a full-time brand manager that handles customer support, shipping. She handles creative. I have a team member that handles graphic design and devotes all her time to website updates, email blasts, creating content for social. So she fully devotes her time to that creative. I have another team member named Linnea, the awesome Linnea. That's my right hand. She really runs this thing, and she handles all production. She's the head of production. So she handles all product development, from choosing fabric to zippers to buttons. Every product that we have that's been developed in this showroom, she is responsible for it. She has taken a sketch that I've given her and turned it into a reality that is profitable and lucrative. And she is responsible for keeping costs down. She's amazing at what she does. It would be impossible without her. And everybody devotes their time to their position. That is their responsibility. And now we have a well-oiled machine. I have one team member fully devoted to the Fashionpreneur retreat and public relations for that. It's an amazing blessing to have this many women, Black women, employed within these companies. And I let people do their jobs. I have gotten to the point where, thank you, Jesus, when I say this, I have gotten to the point where sometimes I wake up and I don't know what to do with myself today because my time has been so alleviated. So I now work 4 days a week. I work about 6 hours some days. Some days might be an 8-hour day. Thursdays for me can be a day that goes until midnight, and I can start at 6 a.m. So it does still depend. It depends on what the workload is like. Of course, it's Fashionpreneur Retreat 2020 season, so work ethic is on 1,000, on Beyonce, as we call it here. On top of this, we're creating collections at Irregular Exposure. So it requires a lot of responsibility, but it requires a leader. So I come in once a week on Mondays into my office, and I have a team meeting with my team, and we delegate what the goals are for that week, that month, that quarter, and we assure that we achieve those goals by Friday. And I don't come into my office anymore. And let me tell you what I had to do, because I knew that I had control issues. I had to start stepping back. I had to let people make mistakes. Not too many, of course, but I had to let people learn to grow. So what I started to do, what I did was, at my showroom, there are 2 parking spaces upstairs. And I gave my staff both parking spaces. They used to look around for parks when they would come into work, and I realized how stressful that was on them. I, being a leader, I said, you know what? I live the closest to the office. I'll Uber to work every day just so y'all can park, and I pay for their parking. That was a leader move. That was a leadership move. Okay. Then I realized, hey, why am I Ubering here? I don't have to work from here. What I do is virtual. What I do is online. I can work from home. So now I sacrificed coming into the office space that, of course, I've invested in. I don't need to be here. I need to let them grow. I need to give them their time. What I love about La and Linnea as well, the team members for Regular Exposure, they are like freaking frat. They've become friends, and they are devoted to helping each other. They've told me so many stories that I didn't know about until later, where they've stayed late and helped each other. That is a team. We've created a conglomerate here that is supportive, and that means the world to me. So now, of course, to get to this point where I have staff and everything, I had to learn how to reclaim my time. So once upon a time, when I was in the beginning stages, just trying to survive each month at a Regular Exposure, I was the only employee and I was working 7 days a week. If I could go back in time, let me tell you what I would change. I would respect my time even when I was just starting. One thing I always tell you guys, operate your business as if it is a $1 million entity already. Move with that direction and that intent. Be very intentional. Don't miss life trying to build what is already built. God has already given you and granted you a launch date. He's already granted you a time for this to happen. No matter how crazy you go, it's still going to happen on that time. And you got to go crazy. I'm not telling you to relax. No. You got to turn up right now. It's 2020. You got to turn up. Your work ethic has to be insane. There are still weeks sometimes where I have to go 7 days a week. It's Friday night right now, and we're recording, in LA. We could easily do so many things right now. But the work ethic has got to be insane. So when I do have those insane work weeks, like me and Ken and La did a shoot last month, a couple months back, and we shot from 7 a.m. I got to the office. We didn't finish until about 10:30 at night. And that was on a Friday, which was supposed to be my day off. What I did to compensate for that following Friday, I took the day off. So I make sure that I reclaim my time in some way and I value it. I let lie off that following Wednesday. Respect your own time. Do not become a slave to your passion. That's not what this is about. Be passionate about it, but do not fall into enslavement because of it. Respect your time, respect your family, respect what is planned for you. You will not get any closer to your goal by stressing about it. You will not get any closer to your goal by stressing about it. You just won't. So make time to hear from God and receive it. I used to have so many people tell me, just take a day off. And I'd be like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it now. I tell people, I'm that person saying, schedule your work week to the point where it is so valued that there's not 1 second that is not profit producing. My staff makes fun of me. They were mocking me earlier, we're not being profit producing. We're not being profit producers because if we value our time and become profit producers, we won't have to work 5 days a week. So now that I work 4 days a week, I'm a leader. I told my staff, I want y'all working 4 days a week. Ken sent me an article recently about Microsoft where they've gotten, I think productivity went up by 40% for 4-day work weeks. I want that for my team. But for us to achieve that goal, and I told them, I want you all to be off on Fridays. I want Irregular Exposure closed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I want you all to enjoy life even more. I love that you get 2 days off. But what if you could have a third day? What if we had longer days? And they said, yeah, I sent them the article. Y'all are my team. I'm not hiding this from you. And they were like, oh, wow, that would be something to consider. But they were very honest. They said, Linnea made it very clear, I need to probably look at this first. Let me revisit that idea. That's how you know you're with a passionate team. Because you were offered a day off and you told me, well, let me see if that works for the company. So that's still something that we're considering doing in the near future. But guess what? For us to be able to have those days, it had to start with us working longer days. So it is valuable for us to be off during the week. It is valuable for us to have 3 days off, 3-day weekends. So for us to get to that point, we have to value our time. One thing we don't do is go crazy for work anymore. Yes, there are times where we have to stay till 10 p.m. and 10:30, but I purposely got an office space in downtown LA that is closed on Sundays. You cannot come in whatsoever on Sundays, and it closes at 10:30 at night. I cannot work ever in this space after those hours. That purposely gives us a time to have a cutoff. It purposely makes us be responsible for cutting ourselves off and shutting down. And we need that time for our families and to support each other. So it is so valuable that you value your team and you respect how you operate within them. So 4-day work weeks is something that has worked for me. And I encourage you guys, while you're building, to set a set schedule. So for me, let me tell you what my schedule is. Mondays, I do not have calls with clients whatsoever. So the Fashionpreneur Academy is open Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5 for virtual support. Mondays, I do not have calls. I only do email support, and I don't respond to emails until late in the afternoon. Like, you might get a response at like 6 p.m. That is my day for meetings. I am talking to my accountant every Monday. My team, we're coming up with our goals for the week. They are first and foremost on my list. 8:30 a.m., we're meeting. We're talking about our goals for that week. Done. I talk to my accountant, like I said. I talk to the rest of my team members, my follow-up team. I talk to my production manager for the retreat, and we manage our week. Boom. Everybody has their goals. That's Monday. Now I get to phone and email support. So I get to my follow-ups. I get to phone and email. Okay? That's Monday. Tuesday, I'm doing scheduled marketing and support. So I'm doing client calls Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and in between that, I'm doing marketing. So I'm doing email blasts. I'm checking on ads that I've run. I'm doing a little bit of research on networking. I'm seeing who I can network within the community. Thursday is the only day that I have client calls that are extended. That is my last day before my weekend. Remember, I'm off Friday to Sunday. So Thursdays, I go hard. I'll do 45-minute sessions, 90-minute sessions with my clients within the academy. And this is reserved for clients that are in my 90-day intensive program. I have a private level where they have private accountability sessions, and then they can also have 90-minute strategic sessions. So I do those on Thursdays. I do group client Q&As on Thursdays. So that's my extended day. I go super hard on Thursday. I work till probably like midnight on most Thursdays because I know the reward is on that Friday when I get to sleep in. Like last Friday, I didn't know what to do with myself. My best friend was like, you're out of control. You have no clue what to do with yourself. I slept until 7 a.m., which is very unheard of for me. And I got up. I ordered food on Instacart. I was on FaceTime with Will, made some pasta, ate that pasta, and went back to sleep. Got up, watched snowfall, got dressed around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't know what to do with myself. What else did we do that day? I don't know. It was just a whole day of nothing. And my mom called me like, what did you do today? I said, nothing. I am in retreat mode. And when I say retreat mode, like spiritually, mentally, and physically, like I'm taking care of myself. So be selfish with your time and be okay with doing nothing sometimes, just to hear, just to relax. Be very intentional about your relaxation time because it's going to end. So, this is the time of year for me where things go insane. So I need that time. This is not going to be my story forever. So make sure that you take that time to actually be off and celebrate your wins. And what I mean by celebrate your wins is sleep an extra hour. Make yourself your favorite meal. Do all the things you love. Respect your time. Another thing, guys, I want you to embrace being you. The reason that I'm here on this podcast right now is because I'm me. I'm not perfect. I'm me. And somebody told me, like, my bio on Instagram says I'm the Master P of fashion, right? Like, I'm infatuated with Master P, his story, the fact that he built an amazing company from the bottom up, and he's a millionaire with so many companies, and he started from the bottom. Like, if you don't know the story of Master P, please research it. He's amazing. And I call myself that because I 100% own every aspect of my business and every step. And that's a blessing for a Black woman. And with that being said, I embrace who I am. And we all know who Nipsey Hussle is. He's literally who I aspire to be. And one thing I love about Nip and his story as well is that he's never been anything other than himself. We've never seen him be anything other than himself. And embracing yourself will get you so much further. My best friend told me one time, she said, you're like the Cardi B of fashion. You don't care about nothing. other than being yourself. So when you guys watch my Insta stories and I'm singing, I'm dancing, I'm playing, I might be cursing some days. It depends on what I'm feeling like. That's really me. I record my friends. That is me. I want you to see my real story. I'm not advertising to you all day. I want you to see I'm just like you. And that's just what it is. And I want you guys to embrace being yourself. Don't turn into something you're not to sell product. Do not worry about with your clothing, advertising, and getting in front of the camera. Hi, I'm Jane, and this is what I do. If that is not who you are, don't be that. Y'all hear me on my webinars and my masterclasses talking real. Like, we talk about dating, we talk about sacrifice, we talk about it all. That's life. It's a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. And that's what I'm passionate about, is embracing who I am, and you will never get a facade. And I think it's imperative that we do that, and you will get so much further in life. If God has allowed me to be here with my potty mouth and my actions and my ways, there's no way you can't either. So take time to be okay with embracing who you are. And if you don't know who you are, build experiences. Like I said, on my days off, that is my self-care dating day. So I take myself on a date. I took myself to the spa last week, a couple weeks ago. The week after that, I told you guys I stayed in the house and cooked for myself. One time I just took myself shopping. Another time I took myself to the beach. I do a lot of stuff by myself that I would have never done before. Be by yourself. Learn to date yourself. I took myself out to eat at Del Frisco's. I got myself the most bomb mac and cheese and drinks one night. Like, I love taking me out. Take yourself out. I will go anywhere by myself. I will go on vacation by myself. I will go to the club by myself. I will go anywhere by myself. Go by yourself. Be alone and embrace it, and don't worry about having to have someone to, just interact with. Like, you're going to experience life so much differently. So enjoy yourself while you're building this business. Like, don't be scared to go to that networking event alone. Don't be scared to travel across the country alone. We got to stop waiting on a homegirl to do stuff that she's not qualified to do. So be alone. And also, on top of dating yourself, date. Men date. Women date. Like, I talk to people so much that tell me, I'm not dating right now. I'm locked in. I'm grinding. Cool, but experience people through the process. You'd be surprised who you meet. And it's a beautiful experience. Like, don't be scared to interact and be vulnerable because you're building a business. And I think there's this perception that we just can't do everything. And I'm not saying go get married today while you're building, but go experience people. You will learn so much. Like, we're here together for a reason. So I want you guys to embrace yourselves and reclaim your time. Take your time off, enjoy it, and live life. All right, y'all. So don't call me. I'm off. I'm off on Fridays. If you email me, I will respond on Monday, and I will start with, I hope you had a great weekend, because I hope you did. I start every email that way on Monday mornings. So I want you all to respect your time. I used to be so anxious. I would respond to an email immediately, Saturday night, Sunday night. And I do sometimes start working Sunday nights just to prep, like just to see what I need to do and organize, but it'll be for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm not working like a slave, okay? That's not what I'm gonna do. So don't be a slave to your business. Reclaim your time, you're off. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick basically a masterclass, I feel like. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed this entry within the Fashionpreneur Diaries, and have a great, prosperous week. And don't answer the phone. You're off. Put your phone down and enjoy life.